Hey, if you are a Freemason in the Savannah, Georgia area and you're getting this the day it comes out, Thursday, February 27th, 2020, come join us tonight. The Scottish Rite Building, downtown Savannah. Zerubbabel Lodge will hold its final meeting there before moving. There are only 2 lodges left in the building, and this will be our last meeting. As some of you know, the Scottish Rite sold the building last year, and it's really a beautiful lodge room, so if you haven't been or haven't been in a while, tonight's a good chance for you. Eat at 6, meet at 7. Let's do the show.
Welcome to Better Humanhood, where we build a better world by building better people. We have to live on the planet, and we have to live with other people. We have conversations about making that a wonderful proposition.
Hey, welcome back to Better Humanhood. Hope you are doing great. Great life, great day, great week, great hour, great moment. It's wonderful to hear the sounds you're hearing in the background right now are another rainy day and a snoring dog. Some of you know that I work for a group of newspaper-affiliated websites. Well, the last of them today are closing comments. Comments were an exciting thing in journalism a little more than a decade ago. It gave readers and writers a chance to actually interact. The old way was somebody would write a story, it would show up in the paper, somebody would write a letter to the editor, and maybe the reporter would call the letter writer or write a letter back, and in more recent years email the writer back, but more often than not, that was the end of it. And comments allowed for a back and forth in not exactly real time, but without waiting days for letters to go back and forth, and other people could get in. And then it just became ugly. It's been that way for the last few years, probably longer, but it's gotten worse and worse. And I'll just read this number for our sites. There are 12 of them right now. 50 million users a month, 2,340 commenters, account for more than 60% of all comments. So that is, off the top of my head, I don't know, 1 out of every 100,000 people posting most of the comments. Comment sections, this is from the MLive editor, but it's roughly the same thing that all our sites are posting. Comment sections leave an outside impression. Conversations routinely go off topic. The tone can get uncivil or even nasty. And our moderators and a vendor our company hires stay busy around the clock policing the conversations, addressing flagged comments, and even going so far as to ban some users. Those resources, my tongue is not working, are better put to use by our staff in creating more news content. We've put so much money and time into dealing with people who are just mean to each other online anonymously. You remember the promise of the internet? That it gave people the opportunity to connect across cultures, and it gave people who believe different things the ability to have conversations. Well, it's really moved away from that, right? Not a whole lot of Arab Springs happening on Twitter these days. It's kind of the opposite. And in fact, Elon University and Pew and a couple other organizations got together for their annual Future of Democracy and the Digital Age study. This was the 11th survey. 979 respondents. Most of these people who responded, who were invited, are in some way using technology at the top levels. I got this. I found it from a tweet from Doc Searle, so I don't know if he was involved. But if you're like in the game, you might recognize the name like Dana Boyd from Data and Society, and Susan Ettlinger with the Altimeter Group. Anyway, I'm going to read this from the summary. There's a link in the show notes. Worrisome themes emerging from answers. Democracy is at risk because those with power will seek to maintain it by building systems that serve them, not the masses. Corporate and government agendas do not serve democratic goals and outcomes. Digitally networked surveillance capitalism creates an undemocratic classism that pits the controllers against the controlled. A lack of digital fluency and a high level of apathy among the public produces an ill-informed and/or dispassionate citizenry, weakening democracy and the fabric of society. Technology will be weaponized to target vulnerable populations and engineer elections. Tech-borne reality distortion is crushing the already shaky public trust in the institutions of democracy. There seems to be no solution for problems caused by the rise of social media-embedded tribalism and the decline of trusted journalism. The speed, scope, and impact of the technologies of manipulation may be difficult to overcome as the pace of change accelerates. So basically, the problem is we as users of technology are being manipulated, and we don't understand how we're being manipulated. However, large corporations, Alphabet, which owns Google, Facebook, which owns Instagram and WhatsApp, and probably a few other things that are on your phone that you're not aware that they own, and governments are big up into your business, and they're sending you down paths that they want to send you instead of opening up paths for you to travel and for you to explore. That makes sense for them to do, but it gets harder and harder for you to recognize it when you just open Facebook and see your friends and see conversations and see arguments, and somehow you get angrier and angrier as your day goes on, even though this is supposed to be a tool for connecting with your friends and family. So strange, right? It's because we don't see how we're being used. It's interesting. I'm also reading about some of this in Present Shock by Douglas Rushkoff. It's sad. Like, I feel like I missed a decade somewhere, almost. I mean, like, a lot's happened to me over the last 10 years, but I feel like there was this sparkle of hope in 2008, 2009, and then just somewhere it got bogged down. Anyway, there are a couple of hopeful themes emerging from respondents to this survey. Here are 3. History shows us that human adaptation will bring positive change. As deep-rooted human behaviors have always created challenges to democratic ideals, but inspired people have shown that they can overcome darker tendencies. In other words, there's a light in the tunnel while a lot of people are getting bogged down in the problems of the world. There are people out there like Boyan Slat, who is creating river cleanup and ocean cleanup technologies to pull all the plastics out of the water and reuse them, some of them for collecting and turning them into new vessels to collect trash. Increased citizen awareness, digital literacy improvements, and better engagement among educators will be evident in the next decade. And that's going to be really as, this generation that got the internet during their formative years, they know it natively, and they understand how to use it, and they'll be the ones coming into classrooms, both school age and college, and really changing the direction of education around technology. Also, changes in the design of human systems and improved ethos among technologists will help democracy. I'm not sure really how that helps democracy, but I am very optimistic in the way that we're seeing some human systems designed. Particularly, we're actually starting to see new city planning coming about. And I don't know how this came from technology or if it's related, but we're seeing more bike lanes, more protected bike lanes. We're seeing overpasses come down where they're not needed, and bypasses do just as well. And somehow it seems like an opening up of our world in the same way that social media initially was able to open up the world to kind of the, not necessarily the have-nots, but the have-lesses. Yeah, I wrote about it over at joshshear.com recently, but I'm optimistic again about Twitter, and I've just really killed my Facebook. I turned off the feed. There's a post linked in the show notes of this this episode. It'll be at betterhumanhood.com/EP for episode 57. It tells you how I turn off the feed. I have to actually go to somebody's timeline if I want to see what they're posting, but I don't get bogged down in all the bullshit that just sits there all day, every day. And I'm using Twitter again and learning new stuff, and it's actually pretty cool. Like it was in 2008, 2009, when I first got on there and connected with some friends and got to meet a lot of new people in the Syracuse area. Anyway, I've babbled on a lot longer than I normally do, so I am going to call this one, but be who you are, be who you will to be. Consider how you are using social media, and if you are on your Lenten fast, may it be meaningful for you. We will see you next time.
Thank you for listening. Get show notes and more at betterhumanhood.com. Leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And have yourself a wonderful day.